back to the channel, everybody. This is Kodeations. In today's video, we're going to be jumping back into some Cookie Run Kingdom, and I'm going to be bringing you guys everything you need to know about the Tropical Soda raids. Without further ado, let's dive right in. Diving right in, ladies and gentlemen, so the first thing we're going to be answering and discussing, and that's going to be exactly how do you unlock the tropical raids? I see this question asked a ton throughout various, Cookie Run Kingdom communities, and the easiest way to explain it is you basically have to be a stage in every type of other content in the game. That means the world exploration, Tropical Soda Islands, you got to claim an island, you got to do one of the bounties, no matter if it's level 1 or level 9, you've got to join a guild and participate in a single guild battle. It doesn't matter about your damage output. Same thing goes for the Tower of Sweet Chaos. It doesn't matter if you beat Trey level 1 or Trey 150, you have to participate in all other types of content. The only exception the Dev Sisters gave of winning or losing was participating in the Kingdom Arena. You just have to do a single match. It does not matter if you win or lose, but in order for it to count, you have to participate in a single match no matter what. Alrighty, so once you've officially unlocked the Tropical Raid system, this is going to be the main home screen of what you're going to see and, always jump into when you try to participate in a raid. There's a couple of things we need to discuss. On the left-hand side here, we do have the season arena and the countdown timer. We currently have 12 days left in 10 hours. And something to note here is that when the season 1 officially ends, they have said in the little explanation notes here that there will be a maintenance period between the individual seasons. So just keep that in mind that, if you happen to get in here and the season is officially over, it might be in that maintenance time and there might not be anything available until the following season comes. Not only that, right below the season timer, we also have the two different types of chests. We've got a deep sea chest and we've got a helper chest. The first one we're going to take a look at, and that's going to be the deep sea chest. The deep sea chest does take 500 of what they call deep sea keys in order to unlock this chest. And not only that, this chest is the holy grail of rewards, in my opinion, for pretty much anything in the game. And that's going to be because if we check out the probabilities, the developers have actually done a really good job at making the rewards that you can earn from this chest worth the time invested in participating in the raids. Not only can you farm out pristine powders, as you can see here on screen, we also can farm out the top tier production items, man. Things like the bowls, the rings, the hammers. I mean, all the way down here to the dragon toys, the brooches, and even the bear jelly crowns, man. You can get all these items via this individual chest. And not only that, it's very important to note here that even if you are a low-level account and don't have the production buildings to craft these specific higher tier items, that does not hinder your ability to claim them. You can still get these via this chest, and that's very nice for two different reasons. One of them being for like the Golden Age of Trade. When the Golden Age of Trade event comes at the end of the, Kingdom season reset, then you can also use these higher tier items to your advantage by selling them off or sending them off in your trading port ship to then get a mega ton of additional points to then increase your overall rank for that event. And then once the Golden Age of Trade event is up, you get additional crystals based on your overall rank. And then number 2 reason why you can take advantage of this as a early game player is going to be you can then hoard up these top tier items and just keep them and bank them and wait until you do officially unlock those production buildings or until you start getting, upgrades and stuff that are going to ask you for these specific items. And with that being said, you will then already have an abundance on hand to utilize at your disposal. Now, for the next chest we're going to be talking about, and that's going to be the helper chest right here. And now it's really self-explanatory. Basically, you just have to participate in raids. You can get 3 different chests. You can see 1, 2, and 3. Each one of these chests are going to be unlocked after participating 10 different times. So first one, help 10 people, you get the first chest. Help your additional 10 people for a total of 20 people. You get the second one. You help another 10 people for an additional of 30 people overall then you get the third and final chest. Now, keep in mind that this helper chest does only award you deep sea keys, rainbow pearls, and experience jellies. Now, there's something really important here to mention, and that's going to be when it comes to the helper rewards chest, a lot of people have a misconception. Like you do not have to participate in 30 different raids in order for you to unlock all 3 chests. Instead, there is a way to kind of sort of cheese the system, and that's going to be participating in a single raid, up to 30 times. Now, you don't have enough cookies to do that for, running all 5 individual comps, but what you can do is you can absolutely put a single cookie in for a specific raid up to 30 different times. And obviously that will inevitably make 30 cookies die and be sent to the sunbeds and tie up your sunbeds. But nevertheless, it can be done. So just keep that in mind. You don't actually have to help out 30 different raids. You can get them all done in a single raid. Video coming on that very soon. Now, when it comes to the content on the other side of the screen here, that is going to be the available raids you have at your disposal. So as you can see here, you can only hold a maximum of 30 raids, and you can see all of your individual friends raids and your individual raids. As you can see here, we've got one by myself, Code City, which was a level 4 contribution, and then you can just see all of the other friends that you currently have raids available. Already now officially diving in here and showing you guys the very first step in a tropical raid, and this is going to be Melons Raid specifically, so shout out to you, Melon. But nevertheless, the first thing you got to do in every raid, no matter what level the raid is, you've got 4 tentacles that you have to beat, and each one of these tentacles, as you can see down here in the bottom, have a health bar basically telling you how much health or how much damage has been done on that specific, tentacle. And then not only that, you can see right next to the health bar a buff or debuff that is going to be taking effect. And so they're all pretty much the standard. I haven't seen any buffs or debuffs change, but you can see that once you actually defeat one of the tentacles, that buff or debuff becomes active. So you can see their first one is going to be amplified buffs. We've got a second one, which is going to be dampened debuffs. And then we've got increased attack and then obviously increased defenses. So again, like I said, all 4 of these have to be beat before the final boss stage officially is unlocked. So let's go ahead and click on one of them and show you what exactly the interface looks like on each tentacle. Taking a look at here, we did already beat the very first tentacle, and you can tell that because that buff is going to be activated. So it says all allies receive buffs, and those buffs are going to be amplified by 10%. And these 4 buffs that we do officially unlock as we beat specific tentacles will carry in with us to the final boss battle. Now, before we officially jump in here and take a look at some gameplay, or at least show the mechanics of the raid, one of the biggest things I want to talk about, and that's going to be some team composition and some team building tips specifically for Tropical Raid. All right, so right off the bat, everybody should know this is a given. No matter what level your account is and no matter what level the raid is, I think running a healer is just, it's a given, right? You have to have a healer on your team to just keep everybody alive. And not only that, I mean, even especially at your cookies that are not quite level 55, and especially when you get into raid levels, 3, 4, 5 and up, it's going to be really, really tough. So you're going to need to bring a healer. And not only that, I would probably advise to bring a strawberry crepe. Like I said, especially for cookies under level 55, you're going to need a healer and strawberry crepe. Strawberry crepe here obviously is going to be the better option between dark choco and strawberry crepe, because if you don't already know, the raid boss and the tentacles are both immune to debuffs, so you cannot apply debuffs to them. And if you don't know what debuffs are, they're basically things like dark choco's ability, which applies a defense break or a defense debuff, basically reducing the boss's defense. That counts as a debuff, so it does not work on the boss, which basically renders him useless for this type of content. Same thing goes for your poison mushroom cookie. Poison mushroom cookie again applies poison, which does count as a debuff, and thus the boss is immune to debuffs. Therefore, you're missing out on a ton of damage by utilizing poison cookies. So when it comes to damage dealers, I would absolutely advise using things like your black raisins, your vampires, your individual rye cookies, your sorbets, I would say your sea fairies, and then last but not least, probably that brand new one as well, which is going to be Parfait. Now, Parfait isn't really so much a DPS unit as it is a support unit, but she adds a ton of value because she then allows you to mitigate some of the debuffs that the raid boss does apply to you, which are going to be those stuns that happens via the slap. Don't worry, we'll show you that into some gameplay, but keep that in mind. And then not only that, another thing I want to mention here when it comes to treasures is pretty self-explanatory again and pretty straightforward, but just do not use the individual treasures that you would typically use in the guild boss battle, and that being something like the slingshot. The slingshot, for example, in this one, again, applies a defense break or a defense reduction debuff to the boss, and because the boss is immune, the slingshot will be doing absolutely nothing for you, so it's better to utilize some other things. And in my opinion, I would say some really good ones would be like the scythe to increase your overall crit percent, which will increase your amount of attack. to use like the lollipop, to use the, obviously the scroll as a given, maybe to even utilize the enchanter's robe, depending on what composition you're currently running, obviously. And then last but not least, you could easily get in here and use the ghost horn to add to the overall defense, especially for those higher level raids. It'll add a ton of survivability. So just keep that in mind. You want to make sure that you are not utilizing things that do apply debuffs, because the boss and the tentacles are both immune. Now, officially jumping in here, I made a massive mistake, guys, and I forgot to swap out Rye for my individual healer. But nevertheless, the point is still the same, right? Like, the first thing I want to talk about, and that's going to be running these boss stages, whether it's going to be a tentacle or an actual raid boss, on manual mode and not auto mode. I see a ton of players trying to run these stages on auto. We just get in the habit of running everything in the game on auto, and it's not going to benefit you here in the Tropical Raid. And that's going to be because running it on manual really allows you to utilize the skills more efficiently. Not only can you utilize things like, you know, the Strawberry Crepe's shield to help mitigate some of the damage when the boss is going to attack, or you can also utilize things like, if you're running herb or pure vanilla, to counter react, you know, when you do take damage and get that healing back up, or even shield yourself before the boss is about to smack you to do additional damage. Same thing goes with utilizing somebody like Parfait, where Parfait can dramatically reduce the amount of stun that, you know, the boss applies to your overall cookies. And with that being said, again, running this on manual is going to be the best way to go, no matter if you're beating the tentacles or the actual individual boss. And as you can see here, we're absolutely just getting shredded by this tentacle, which we should have no problem clearing, because I just simply forgot to bring a healer, which is really, really sad. But there you go. We did end up beating the stage anyway, even though we lost a couple cookies in the process. All right, so check this out. So we back out of here, and we actually go into a main boss, which the only one I've got available here is this one, and it's going to be all the way up to a level 5. Look how insane this scales. We go from 600,000 power to 1,388,000. And then not only that, he also gains additional abilities. So on top of gaining the first 3 that the tentacles have, he also gains Ink Cannon, which deals damage to 2 cookies with the highest attack and reduces their attack stat. Then we also get the Abyssal Roar, which basically deals damage to all cookies and reducing the healing that they overall receive. So again, very, very tough, man. These boss stages are really, really challenging. And like I said, especially after level 4 and up, it's basically impossible to beat out the timer anyway. So it's better just to go for as much damage as you possibly can output. And that's going to require you to bring a healer and also somebody like Strawberry Crepe to offer that survivability to allow you to continue to put off damage. However, at the end of the raid, the timer will inevitably end, and your cookies will, you know, be defeated and be put into the sunbeds no matter what. Again, keep in mind that the buffs do carry over into the boss fight. You can see that because after beating 4 tentacles, all 4 of these buffs are still active. So we do get a little bit of bonus for 5% of attack, and we also still get the bonus of the individual, you know, defense, which the boss does directly reduce, you know, the overall attack stat, and then also the healing received. So again, it kind of counteracts itself, but at the end of the day, just know that the boss is significantly harder compared to the tentacles, and once you beat all 4 of those, the buffs do carry over. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully that gives you some insight on the Tropical Raid system. Again, I apologize I didn't have a guild boss to at least show you how that fight, you know, functions, although it is pretty much identical to the tentacle battles besides just those 2 additional attacks. And not only that, like I said, it was a level 5, which is really, really tough to even beat, you know, anyways. So again, at the end of the day, you guys just need to understand that the boss, whether it's the tentacle or the actual squid, is going to be immune to debuffs. And so making sure that you're not bringing like Dark Choco or Poison Mushroom, you know, those type of cookies, because they're not going to offer you a lot of value, because they are basically built around applying a debuff, and they're immune to debuffs, so they're pretty much pointless. You know, is going to obviously help you with swapping those out to better DPSers that don't apply debuffs. Same thing goes for your treasures. Make sure that you are not utilizing things like your slingshots as you would in like the guild boss battle, because again, the boss is immune to debuffs and the slingshot does count as a debuff. Instead, opt to use some of those other treasures that will, you know, directly increase either your survivability, that being the horn, or increase your overall damage, that being like the scythe or the robe or something of that nature. So again, you guys let me know down below in the comments if you guys have any additional questions about the Tropical Raid system. I will try to do my best to answer and help you out. Hey, we also have a Discord link provided in every one of our descriptions on our videos that we'd love to have you over there. We've got a awesome family-friendly community over there. I think of like 1,500 players currently that is willing to help you out if you've got any additional questions, or you just need some help or some advice when it comes to building team compositions. And with that being said, as always, ladies and gentlemen, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you get a notification every time we drop a video, and I will see you guys on the next one.